When we talk about hidden worlds, lost worlds, you think of ancient spaces. But the fact is that a dark subterranean realm exists right here in our own nation, right under our feet. And most Americans have no idea it's even there. Yet every American city is riddled with tunnel systems. For the most part, they're created for practical purposes: sewer systems, commercial transit, subway lines. But it seems inevitable that this darker netherworld attracts a nefarious criminal element.
So who were some of these shady characters lurking below American cities? And what can they tell us about America's criminal underworld?
Only one way to find out.
Chicago, home to some of the most notorious mobsters in American history. John Dillinger, Babyface Nelson, Frank Nitti, and none more notorious than Al Capone. Chicago has over 60 miles of tunnels under the city that have long been rumored to have fueled Chicago's vast history of criminal operations. So I've got state-of-the-art tech to see if I can bring this massive network of dark spaces into the light.
Say hello to my little friend, the Leica Pegasus backpack. This little device costs $250,000. Luckily, they're letting me borrow one for free. It's a combination of cameras, GPS, and laser technology, and essentially collects the data from walking through a subterranean space and combines it into what is a 3D map that can be looked at, on a tablet or a laptop. This now makes it possible to record huge amounts of territory just by taking a walk with a backpack.
Now that I have this new tech in my hands, I'm heading out to see what I can learn about how Al Capone, the most infamous gangster in history, used the underworld. Nicknamed Scarface, Capone became the head of the Chicago mob at the early age of 26 and spent the next 6 years bootlegging booze and mowing down anyone who got in his way. Capone is said to have made $100 million a year, a whopping $1.3 billion in today's money. He supposedly killed over 700 people. He also had full protection from the police and political leaders of Chicago. So how did he do it? How did Capone gain almost total control of not only the criminal underworld, but also the elected politicians? There's long been rumors that Capone used a network of tunnels below the city to run his criminal operation. So I'm going to use this groundbreaking LiDAR technology, and maybe I can find out if it's actually true.
Grant?
Grant DePorter is the owner of Harry Carey's Italian Steakhouse. This building used to be the headquarters for Al Capone's right-hand man, Frank Nitti, and may have been an important entry point into the underworld.
This is one of the oldest buildings down here in downtown Chicago, right?
Oh, for sure, yes. And it goes back to the 1800s. And Frank Nitti, Capone's enforcer, owned our building for many, many years. And
Right.
Frank and his wife Annette, they had an office here on the second floor.
And are there remnants of that time here in terms of them occupying these spaces?
Oh, yeah. One time I went through the wall and found an address book with mobster home phone numbers in it and, city officials.
Really?
Yes, just hidden in a wall.
Wow.
I want to show you this bookshelf back here. If I hit this magic button, this wall will open up.
Oh, that's great.
And this is where their office was.
And it's sitting on an underground, am I right?
Right. Underground tunnel system that was originally created, for like coal distribution, but they weren't making money, so it failed. And then it was great for the mob. It was a complete network of 60 miles of underground tunnels.
Can you get to them now?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, lead the way.
Okay. Our restaurant opened in 1987. 11 years after that, in 1998, an electrician was drilling through this wall, and we found an 85-foot room that we didn't know even existed.
Wow. Did you find any money? Did you find the treasure down here?
We're still looking.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
We're underground here. You can see this was the main entrance, I think. They had a canopy here. You can see the paint.
Interesting, wow. But this has been walled off.
Yes, there was a tunnel.
Interesting. And so was this connected in some way to a greater tunnel system?
Oh yeah, you could end up at City Hall from here.
Really?
Okay, if this blocked tunnel did lead to City Hall during Capone's day, it might show that the mobster had a secret underground way of getting to politicians, who most people believe he had in his pocket.
Wow.
So I'm going to try and find the other side of this tunnel by tracing it back, starting at City Hall. The city is allowing me to explore these tunnels underneath the city building and beyond, as long as I share my mapping data, since 3/4 of the underground tunnels in Chicago have never officially been mapped.
The utility bowels of City Hall. Let's mount up, huh?
The Leica Pegasus backpack shoots out millions of lasers per second and records the time they take to bounce back to the unit. While it does that, it takes hundreds of photos per second.
This is so great.
All of that data combined creates a 3D map in real time, as Matthew Lewis, a tunnel coordinator for trans systems, leads me through the unmapped section of the Chicago underworld to determine if Capone and his gang of mobsters really did have a direct connection to City Hall. I'm also curious if these tunnels lead to a wider network of underground pathways branching throughout the city.
Look at this. These are the tunnels under City Hall here. This part's lit. You can see all these. Man, that's incredible. Oh.
Here's an intersection.
All right. So this is where it gets dark.
Yes.
So we're leaving the City Hall tunnels, and this is the streets.
Correct.
Can I head out there on my own?
Help yourself.
Okay. Nitti's tunnel system beneath his headquarters there was connected to this whole system beneath Chicago. So that means basically the mafia could control Chicago from these tunnel systems. Here we go, look at this. You got 1, 2, 3 tunnels all branching off. It's insane to think that the entire above ground has a kind of mirror below ground. And of course, the criminal element would have known this. The mafia would have known they could use this whole system to their advantage, working stuff down here, running around, always out of sight. I mean, who knows who they're paying off? So this is basically their domain, you know, this world down here, the underworld, the criminal underworld. Here we go, look at this. Chamber of Horrors, amazing. That sort of all blows up right here. Look at this thing. Look at these stalactites. Just the lime that's come down over the years. That's crazy.
Capone was responsible for so many deaths in Chicago. Estimates vary, but some say it's as many as 700. It just makes you wonder, were any of those murders committed down here?
I cannot see the end of any of these tunnels. Let's just go down this way, because I have no idea where I am. You could spend your life down here. I mean, really. I mean, I'm completely lost. It seems to be getting smaller. The whole tunnel system changes in size. It goes from larger to smaller to even smaller, and then it gets downright claustrophobic.
These tunnels would have been the perfect location for shuttling cash, booze, even bodies during the infamous decade that Capone ruled Chicago, before the feds finally put him behind bars on tax evasion charges.
What the hell is this? Damn. Dead end. Dead end. Boom. Just like so, it stops. There you go. So this is a blocked off access here to another tunnel beyond. I mean, reports are that there is another system that sort of extends beyond the known tunnels, and that these would have been used quite possibly by those, criminal elements.
Now that I've mapped who knows how many miles of the Chicago Underground, I want to lay the LiDAR mapping data over the streets and see how far this network of tunnels goes, and if it once could have connected Al Capone straight to City Hall, where he secretly paid off politicians.
So this is the street map right here. And so let's lay over the map from the Pegasus of the underground, just like so. Wow, look at that. That's amazing. It's insane how much of a mirror image the above ground is to the below. Of course, it was not made for nefarious purposes, but inevitably, these tunnels are used by criminal networks to keep their business out of the public eye. And that was what it was all about, having access to the points they needed, the courthouses, the warehouses, the cops, and then use those undergrounds to move people and goods around the city, even underneath the Chicago River. Imagine how useful that was in Prohibition.
Examining the scans here, you can see that the tunnel from City Hall connects to this larger network of passageways, running at least 60 miles beneath Chicago. This really seems to show that as Al Capone ruled every part of the city, transporting countless cases of bootleg booze and committing unspeakable crimes, he was probably doing it from the underground. Now I'm curious, with this new LiDAR technology, what other dark crimes can I illuminate?